The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Portland, Oregon, on your new fire apparatus, job number 30515. Please utilize this job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Let's start down at the base front bumper area. Located in the bumper, you're going to find your mechanical siren. Located also in the front bumper, you'll find dual air horns, right and left side. And located in the center, you'll find your public announcement system and your electronic siren speaker. Moving up from that location onto the front body, you'll find on the sides marker light turn indicator. Moving just inward of that, a turn arrow. Moving into the headlight cluster, you'll find your low and high beam. High beam is on the inner section and the low beam is on the outer section. Moving up from that, you'll find a forward-facing bell. And just inside of that, above the headlight cluster, you'll find your cluster here that houses two emergency warning lights. Located just up from that, you're going to find two grab handles on the right and left side. Let's go ahead and take a look at the side. You'll find a side-facing scene light, in addition with a side-facing emergency warning light. As we move to the top of the apparatus, we'll find running lights across the front. There are 5 of them, in addition with 2 LED-style forward-facing floodlights. Moving up to the very top of the apparatus, you'll find your light bar and also your Opticom located in the center. Down to the driver's side of the vehicle, you'll find an air inlet outlet and also an air shutoff just below that, and also the junction for your cab tilt. Moving into the window, driver's side, you'll find a DC amps and also an indicator that you're plugged into shore power. Located on points of entry, the latches that are keyed. Also grab handles. Moving down to the lower section, the step wells, you'll find step lighting and underneath perimeter lighting. You'll also find side-facing emergency warning lights. Moving up from that location, you'll find a top-mounted scene light and also a side-mounted scene light. And at the very top, you'll see a telescoping floodlight. Located also at the top of the apparatus, you have a side emergency light bar. On the side of the apparatus, you'll find danger and warning labels. In addition, within the small side compartment, this is the storage location for your tilt. There is a raise and lower switch here located from the front section where you plug into the driver's side. On the rear section of the cab, you'll find a through compartment. Just behind that, you'll find an additional smaller through compartment with also adjustable shelving. Moving up to the top, you'll find on the right and left side of the vehicle rear, you'll find the on-off switch for your telescoping lights. We'll talk about the components where the arrow is currently indicated next. Let's go ahead and take a look down at the lower section and we'll talk about these components also. Starting in the upper section here, you'll find this driver's side floodlight and also an indicator light that it is on. On the rear portion of the tractor, you'll find this inspection hole. Inside is the hydraulic reservoir. This is Celsius and Fahrenheit and may vary when in use. Looking at the top of the rear of the tractor section, you'll find 3 distinct modules. We'll talk about those next, starting in the lower left-hand corner. This is going to be the hydraulic reservoir, green, yellow, and red indicator. Moving to the right, you'll find the aerial hydraulic oil fill location. And moving further over, we'll find your ATF, which is your power steering fluid. There is an indicator inside dipstick and also fill location. On the rear of the tractor, you'll find this top access
compartment full width. Looking at the top of the apparatus on the right and left, you'll find two indicators for no step or warning indicating no step and your unit identifier. We'll talk about the next set of components here. Let's focus in on the pedestal. Let's start first on the left-hand side here. You'll find some warning labels in addition with the use of belts and also electrical hazards. You'll find two compartments here for access. First, a smaller access door and then a larger access door. On that access door, you'll also find a small light illuminating your step area. And also in orange, you'll find your dead man's for use of the aerial device. Let's now open the pedestal compartment. On the right side of the opening, you'll find caution, warning, and also danger indicators. Please seek the advice of those. We'll also talk about communications. We'll talk a little bit about some of the ladder controls, and then we'll also talk about some of the switches on the left-hand side of the housing. First, let's start on the right-hand side. Inside the lid, you'll find your Pierce 100-foot steel aerial ladder load chart. You can see that there are differences between waterway when it is dry and waterway when it is charged, and also aerial elevations and monitor and nozzle positions. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the communication device. This is your FRC ACT intercom system, push to talk. This is the speaker and also what you would speak into for communications. Moving down from this location, we'll find a test indicator. This will light all of your devices, including the stabilizers when not fully extended and your lung alignment. Let's go ahead and move up. You have some lights here: aerial scene light, tip aerial AC floodlights, driver tracking and officer tracking, and also your emergency hydraulic power. To the right, you'll find your flow minder. This will give a digital readout for flow and also a totalizer at the very top. Down in the lower section, we'll find your hydraulic system pressure. Let's talk about nozzle control next on the left. Currently in the stowed, light illuminated. It's a protected switch. And you also have stream, fog, lower and raise, and right and left. Ladder controls for retract and extend, left and right, and lower and raise. Back down onto the pedestal, you'll find your emergency overrides. This is for right and left rotation. On the side of the apparatus, on the ladder, you'll find an inclinometer regarding your degrees. And also on the left-hand side, you'll find a switch for lighting control. We're now looking at the fly section of the ladder. You can see tool storage on the right-hand side. Moving down or to the base section, you'll find the ability for ladder storage. Let's go ahead and take a look at the tip section of the ladder. We'll talk a little bit about some of the components here briefly. First, communications. Moving to the left, you'll find your nozzle control. Located in the center, you'll find the ability to pin your waterway. Also moving to the right-hand side here, you also have AC power, 20 amp plug. And then over on the left-hand side, you'll find tip control lights. First, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about those components. First of all, the communications device. This is going to be the ACT communication. There is a volume control here and also a speaker. On the right-hand side, you'll find the aerial 20 amp plug. On the left, you'll find your deployment and stow and also nozzle control. Let's go ahead and look on the left-hand side. In this box here, you'll find scene lights. There's a switch at the top of that. Let's go ahead and look at the side of the apparatus here at the ladder. We're going to see this mechanism which allows you to pin the waterway to a lower fly section. And then also the ability for a valve for water selection flow. When pinning that waterway, it must be done while the ladder is stowed. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Generalized view of the cab or tiller person spot. Let's go ahead and cover the components next. Looking down or sitting from within inside the cab, at the lower section, hard to see left foot area. This is going to be a foot pedal for the engine start. And on the upper section here, dash area, you'll find your climate control. Also a fan just above that. Looking overhead in the very front of the apparatus as the operator would look through the window, left-hand side, you'll see the left camera, right-hand side, you'll see the right camera. There are also mirrors facing to the rear on right and left sides. Let's go ahead and look inside over the operator's head. There is left and right amber lights, also push on, push off, red and white lights. Let's cover some of the switches here. First, you've got on the left driving lights. You've got the right scene lights. You've got a future location, an overhead light, a jackknife warning indicator, and also the rear scene lights. Located on the far right is a gauge for left, center, and right, as you can see it here in this image. And we'll move next over to the right set of switches. Looking overhead, this is going to be your washer and wiper control. You can see there's a wiper delay, trailer ABS, ground lights, officer scene lights, and then right-sided driving light. Let's go ahead and look to the back section here. This is to the right of the operator. This is going to be the fill location for your windshield wipers. Overhead, you'll find your FireCom system. Let's move up to the very front of the apparatus. We'll talk about some of these components next. First, there is attachment points here and warning labels indicating for the ability to unseat the apparatus by not lifting properly. There are also instructions here on warning and danger for crush, and also warning information here regarding charged discharge ports and the pressures associated with that. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the components within this area. First, starting with the outside edge here, you can see this is an attachment point here. Moving to the right, you'll find your large diameter intake for your aerial. Just beneath that, you'll find the aerial drain. And then just in the lower section, upper section, you'll find your pressure gauge here. And then down in the lower section, this handle you'll find for the release. Let's go ahead and take a look at the side of the vehicle. You'll find first in the upper left and also in the back, you'll find 2 access ports. Behind those access, these are going to be the fill locations for diesel and DEF. At the very front area, first you'll find the fill location for your DEF, 4.5 US gallons blue cap. In the back section, you'll find an ultra low sulfur diesel fuel silver cap. Let's go ahead and move to the side. You're going to find your inclinometers for front to rear and also from side to side. We'll go ahead and look just a little further back. You'll find access doors here. Let's talk about those next. First, the front access door. This is going to be for your high idle and also emergency hydraulic power. It also is your passenger side and driver side stabilizers. The next compartment or access here is going to be for overrides, and up in the very right hand corner, this will be the diverter to determine whether you want it to use for aerial emergency power or stabilizer emergency power. Just above this location is the location of your cord reel. The arrow is indicating a reset for the reel rewind motor. This is a 200-foot 30 amp reel. This is the push button for that cord reel rewind. Looking at the next compartment, this is a through compartment, houses some electrical components here. Let's first start with a few of those components. On the left-hand side, the first set of switches is a protected switch. This is going to be for your generator PTO. At the very top, there is an indicator green light for generator PTO engaged. You can see the switch just beneath that, and then there is the generator start indicator for what it's for. On the right, we're going to talk about this breaker panel. You can see it's also protected. This is going to be the generator power supply. And you can see at the very top, this is the Pierce information, but let's look up just a little bit higher. You can see G1, which indicates for generator 1. These are all the individual controls or switches and breakers for that. Just slightly above that, you'll find also the Harrison generator information for frequency amps for line 1 and 2, and also AC volts digital readout. On the opposite side, this is going to be your shore power when you're plugged into shore power. This is the breaker box for that. Let's go ahead and look up from that location. You can see that the battery charger, you also have receptacles and also shoreline pigtail. Moving to the next compartment, you have a pull-out shelf on the bottom, adjustable, and also a pull-out, pull-down style shelf in this location, once again through compartment. Underneath, at the very base, you're going to find your outrigger pads. Moving to the next compartment from this area, you'll find an additional pull-out compartment, 2 adjustables, and that through compartment. Let's go ahead and move to the next set of compartments. You'll find 3 adjustable shelves, and at the very base, a pull-out style shelf. Once again, all compartments have LED lighting within inside. This is going to be the long base compartment here with, you can see, material here to allow airflow underneath the equipment. Just above that, you'll find an additional storage location. This is a through compartment currently housing a ladder. Let's go down to the area where the wheels are located. You have an indicator light and also bottle storage location with safety straps. Moving to the next compartment here, we'll see a adjustable shelf, and just above where the arrow is indicating, this is the bullet style forward facing camera, which you can see with inside the tiller person's location. Let's look to the rear compartment here. This is going to be your ultra low sulfur diesel fill location. This is for your heater in the back of the apparatus. And you'll also find your shoreline generator outlet and also shoreline inlet. Above here, I'm going to make note here of the hazard label or danger label here regarding electrical hazards. We'll talk about some of the components underneath. You have a compartment. There are 2 attachment points on the right, and then just above this is your ladder storage area. Let's go ahead and move all the way around to the opposite side of the vehicle, rear section here. We'll find that same camera on the right-hand side. We're on the passenger side of the vehicle. We're going to look inside this 2-pole compartment. You can see once again the ability for adjustable shelving, although the drying material here for airflow. You also have the same configuration for bottle storage and that safety strap. And then we'll move forward from this location to the next compartment, dual pull doors. This is going to be an adjustable shelf pull-out style. It can move up or down on those guide rails. This is the through compartment just underneath the ladder. You can see the other side of the ladder from this location. Inside the next compartment forward, you'll find an adjustable shelf and LED lighting. Let's go ahead and take a look into the next compartment. This is the same configuration as we saw on the other side. This is that through compartment to the rear, and this is the next compartment that's through to the rear. Let's go ahead and move forward of this location. This is the same compartment, obviously, as the other side. This shelf will pull right or left. Located just above this location, you're going to find that cord reel rewind switch, 30 amp, 200 feet. This is the location of that. Let's go ahead and move forward of this location. Same layout, maybe some slightly different components. Let's first start with this compartment here. You can see that this is an access door, but just in the front section here, this is where you're going to find your controls. These are the controls, once again, for the high idle, on-off, emergency hydraulic power, and also passenger and driver side stabilizers. Same configuration as the opposite side here. You have a large diameter intake with your drain, in addition with attachment points, and you will notice all of your warning, hazard, and danger labels also on this side. On the tractor itself, you'll find an additional location for ultra low sulfur diesel fill. Silver cap once again, but I would like to make note here, this is the exhaust, and when you park your vehicle, make sure you park with consideration of flammable areas. Through compartment here, let's move forward of this location to the next narrow compartment here. Once again, is a through compartment. Currently, lights are not on in this compartment, but there is LEDs. Moving forward into the next compartment, smaller compartment down at the base. The opposite side held the remote for the cab tilt, same compartment. Generalized view looking into the rear section of the cab. I would like to note that all compartment areas have warning and hazard labels regarding the entry and exiting of the vehicle, and also the use of seat belts. Let's take a look at the top. You can see once again your headset location for plugins, and you also have on the side of each seat barrel style 12-volt access. Let's go ahead and move forward. In this location, you can see this is interior of the cab. There is an interior compartment. You'll find interior lighting. Also in between both the rear seats, you'll find this access for oil and transmission checks. Looking overhead, you're going to find your climate control, also plugins for your headsets, and also overhead lighting. Located here is a shore power outlet in addition with your shore power battery charger when plugged in, and this is going to be your overhead lights. Same plug here, 12 volt on the opposite side of the vehicles where we're at now. This is a 12 volt outlet. As we look to the front section, this is going to be the passenger side. I would like to note your vehicle is equipped with airbags in the front. That's what the SRS is. And at the very base, you have a mechanical siren foot pedal. Also, just up from this location is where you'll find the fill location for your windshield wipers. Let's go ahead and move to the passenger side cowling area. First, you're going to find controls for the go light. You're also going to find 12-volt access, barrel style, and USB, and also the vehicle data recorder port. Located in the center, you're going to find climate control, your siren control, and your headset controls. Overhead, you're going to find a candy cane warning regarding spare wiring behind this panel, in addition with some rocker switches and an intense reading light. First is the alarm override, 3 future locations for switches, a siren brake, and also your bell control. There's also overhead climate control here for the vents and also pull strings for those air horns. Let's go ahead and move to the operator side of the vehicle. On the door itself, you'll find additional warning and hazard labels. Let's move inside about knee height. You'll find the cab lift on off, also the battery switch, and also an engine start override switch if there is no tiller person in the back. Down at the base of the floor, you'll find your mechanical siren foot pedal. Let's move to the very far right-hand side up against the wall here. You're going to find some information regarding your hydraulic oil reservoir, some warning and caution labels. Let's focus next on this yellow placard. This is your Pierce manufactured by. This is manufactured for Portland Fire. You'll find the date of manufacture, job number, gross vehicle weight ratings, VIN number, and also you'll find fluid capacities. Let's look back down at the floor area. You're going to find first your brake treadle and also your accelerator. Moving just up from this location, you'll find an additional generator hours meter. We'll move to the opposite side of the steering column. As you first make entry, you'll find some components here. Let's start on the left-hand side and we'll move upward from that location. First, starting at the very base, you're going to find your ignition switch, start switch, and also a hazard light switch, also an indicator for wait to start. On the opposite side, you're going to find the OK to engage the high idle and the on switch for your high idle. On the left, this is that wait to start indicator. Let's go ahead and go through some of the components within the dash area. First, starting on the left with the transmission oil DEF level and water temp. You have a tachometer and speedometer. There is also volts, fuel, front and rear air, and then there are also displays within this apparatus at the very top of the section and also in the lit area in yellow at the bottom. Moving just to the right of this location, you'll find this red light indicating a jackknife warning. To the right of that, slightly above, you'll find a warning buzzer, 1 stop, 2 go, 3 for backup, and the audible speaker down low. Located in the center, you're going to find your Pierce Information Center. There's a tremendous amount of information that can be gleaned through this device. Let's move to the right of that. First, you're going to find your differential lock, your Tillerman not seated indicator, engine brake on off, engine brake high, medium, and low, traction control disable, and your mirror heat. To the right, you'll find your flat and convex mirror controls. And then further down, you're going to find your Allison transmission pad. Let's go ahead and move now overhead of the operator. First, let's start in the upper left-hand corner with this placard that is in yellow. This is coming from Pierce. This is when it came out the door with all of your items on it with a height of 10 feet, 11.5 inches. It has your length and also gross vehicle weight rating. To the right of that, you're going to find Emergency Master, Load Master, ground lights, a lockout cylinders engaged, and also your Aerial Master. To the right, siren brake, air horn, emergency light dimmer, high beam flash, generator PTO, and your bell. To the right of that, this is your traffic advisor on the rear. You'll find an on-off, split right and left, and flash. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next set of switches. You're going to find the driver's side alley, driver's side scene, front scene, rear scene, officer scene, and officer alley light switches. Located on the A pillar on the driver's side, you'll also find your VIN number located on the post. Inside of each of the entrance doors to your apparatus, you're going to find a variety of warning and hazard labels. Please seek the advice of those labels. Located in the center between the passenger and driver, you're going to find a red puck style light. This is indicating that you have a compartment door open or a door ajar. Congratulations, Portland, Oregon, job number 30515. If you have any questions regarding this video or any additional comments, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.